It Ends With Us, one of the most loud and talked about premieres of 2024. The movie about domestic violence and abuse, spiced up by Blake Lively's inadequate portrayal of the plot in the media and in the promotion campaign. Is it really as bad as people say? Or maybe it's very good and worth watching? I watched it for you so you don't have to, and I will tell you all about it. And if you did watch the movie, this video will still be very interesting for you because we will cover the psychology of main characters. We will understand why the main character Ryle behaves the way he does. Why is he abusing his wife? We shall concentrate on the abuser. Why did he become the abuser? Not why she became the victim. And that sends us a message that if you are unable to leave your abuser, that means there is something wrong with you. We will cover the plot of the movie, the changes, the most significant changes that were made in compare with the original book, because yes, the movie is based on a book, and let me warn you in advance, we will of course have a lot of spoilers in this video. Then we will talk about the psychology of the characters, specifically mostly about the main character Ryle and his psychology, and I will tell you what I didn't like in the movie, which moments of their relationship I think are shown inadequately, they are removed from the reality, and I would even say they are glamorizing the abuse. Then we will cover Blake Lively's weird behavior and why she does what she does, from my opinion, and in the very end I will tell you how to actually spot a potential abuser, how to understand that this man is dangerous and he might abuse you in the future. Hi, I'm Alena, life coach, female coach. Welcome to my channel. On this channel we talk about all things feminine, about self-development, about success for women and relationships, of course. I'm wearing my florals as Blake Lively asked me.
It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
Seriously, Blake. And today we are going to dive deep into It Ends With Us. Let's start with the plot to understand what happened in the movie if you haven't watched it, or to recap it if you have watched it. Our main character is Lily Blossom Blue. Yes, that's her real name. I know what you're thinking. She comes to Boston to open a flower shop, which is her lifelong dream. And in the process, she rediscovers certain things about her past. First of all, her father had died just recently, and she goes back into her childhood, thinking about what she had witnessed. And she had witnessed domestic abuse. Her father used to beat her mother and assault her, and she, as a child, was the witness of it many times. Because of that, she started resenting her father, of course, because he was violent, and resenting her mother as well, because she wasn't able to leave the husband who treated her that way. Also, she thinks about her past relationship, her first love. As a teenager, she fell in love with a guy named Atlas who was homeless. She helped him survive in the streets. Ultimately, they fell in love and he became her first man. In the end, her father discovered the truth about their friendship and beat Atlas really bad, sending him to ambulance. Being haunted by the ghosts of the past and working on the opening of her flower shop, Lily meets Ryle, a really hot, handsome, young neurosurgeon. And their romance begins. Well, how begins? First, they start flirting with each other. They're clearly attracted to each other. But Ryle is not the kind of guy who has a relationship with a woman. He usually has casual connections and hanging out and flirtations, but he is not creating a couple with anyone. And Lily is the kind of girl who wants a serious relationship. As she says herself,
I don't do casual, and I know that's how you do it, but I've changed my mind, and I'm sorry.
Ryle, who is still really attracted to her and wants to be with her, does what he usually doesn't do. He starts a relationship with her. They start dating. And after that, we have a series of really romantic events of how their romance is unfolding. If you're single, be careful with that. They are still boyfriend and girlfriend when the first red flag, the abuse moment happens. What happens is Ryle is making a breakfast, he's baking a frittata, and it starts getting burnt. So he goes to check it and burns his hand, and remember he's neurosurgeon, he burns his hand and gets aggravated, pulls it out, and by accident, that's important, hits Lily in the face.
I told you. I'm sorry. I did tell you. No.
Oh,
Baby, you need to
yeah.
hold it. Wait, you're gonna stick your hand in there?
She, of course, believes that it's completely an accident, and they go on like nothing happened. Soon after that, they go to a restaurant where, surprise, surprise, Atlas works as a waiter, or he owns the restaurant, doesn't matter. He sees that Lily has a big bruise under her eye and gets worried for her. He thinks that her boyfriend Ryle is abusing her, that he hit her. So Atlas tries to talk to her and ask her to leave the guy, but she wouldn't listen. She believes it was an accident. As they are talking, Ryle spots them, which results in a very violent fight between the two guys. So that's our second moment. Atlas didn't manage to do anything to make her leave Ryle, but he managed to give her his phone number in case she needs him. The relationship continues. The two, Ryle and Lily, get married and they become husband and wife. And then a new occasion happens. Ryle discovers the phone number that Atlas had given to Lily, and he becomes aggravated. Another rage outburst happens. Lily is running after him, trying to explain what happened, and obviously we understand as viewers that nothing happened between Lily and Atlas. He just gave her his phone number in case she's in trouble, but Ryle won't have it. He runs away, Lily is chasing him, and she falls from the stairs.
I found this.
No, please just listen to me, please.
Promise me, Lily.
I didn't know he was coming.
Stop.
Just talk to me.
Stop.
Baby, please, just
Stop.
stop. You stop.
Stop.
Please, don't.
Again, this looks like a complete accident, and that's exactly the way they show it for us on the screen. By the way, my husband joined me in watching the movie shortly after these 2-3 things happen, and I told him the recap of what had happened before he joined. I told him these things happened and they were completely accident because that's the way the movie showed it for us. Shortly after that, the ultimate wake-up call happens. So Lily has a little tattoo, like a heart here on her collarbone, which was made in memory of her relationship with Atlas. But of course, she didn't tell the truth to Ryle because she's not silly. As we can understand, she saw that he's getting violent. That's why she didn't tell him. So we can't say she didn't see anything. Anyway, Ryle discovers that that heart was made in memory of her love for Atlas, and he becomes crazy rage outburst. He pulls her down and sexually assaults her. Lily runs away to Atlas and spends few days with him, realizing what had happened. And this is the point in the movie when she had realized finally that the first 2 occasions when he hit her first on the face and then when she fell from the stairs were no accidents at all. He did hit her on purpose and he did push her from the stairs. And the way they showed it for us was because Lily is unreliable narrator. She wants to believe that they were accidents, but they were not. And now we, together with Lily, discover the truth. I think this was done beautifully because we were kind of in her place. We saw what she saw with her own eyes. We understood what the victim of abuse is going through when she is rationalizing, what she's trying to see this as an accident, even though it was not, because it's so hard to accept. But now finally she understands who Ryle is and how dangerous he is, and she decides to leave him. However, she finds out that she is pregnant from him. She is going to have a baby girl. At this point, movie becomes a little bit weird. This is what I didn't like about the movie in terms of its production. It seems like at this point of shooting, the conflict between Blake Lively and the lead actor, who was also a director of the movie, became so bad that they couldn't be on set together. It really feels that way. Because the rest of the movie goes as a weird chain of events, like all in a blink of an eye, and they are almost never together in the shot on screen. Ryle suddenly disappears. For months, as she becomes more and more pregnant, her belly is growing, he's just not there, which is weird and absolutely illogical in terms of behavior of real abusers. Anyway, when Lily is giving birth to her baby daughter, Ryle is there, he finally appears again, and she asks him for a divorce. Lily realized that she doesn't want to be like her mother, she doesn't want to be a victim of abuse, and for her daughter to see her mother becoming a victim again, like exactly what happened with her and her mother. So she asked him for a divorce, and Ryle understands this is the best thing to do. They get divorced. Let's see that moment in the movie. I think that was the best moment in the whole movie.
I want a divorce. It's not for you or me, it's for her. What if one day she came to you and said, my boyfriend hit me, what would you say to her? Or if she said, Daddy, my husband pushed me down the stairs, but he said it was an accident, so it's fine. If she said her husband held her down and she begged him to stop, but he swore he'd never do it again, what would you tell her?
I would beg her to leave him.
Yeah.
And I'd beg her never to go back.
Beautiful, beautiful message to all of us. We have to realize on time when the relationship is not going anywhere and we have to save ourselves. And it is easier said than done. This is one of the moments I want to discuss with you later about adequate portrayal of such relationship. Lily becomes free. She continues living with her daughter, co-parenting her with Ryle. And It Ends With Us is addressed to her daughter. It ends with them. They are not going to be victims of abuse anymore. And in the very end, Lily renews her relationship with Atlas, which I didn't really like, but about that also later. Let's take a little moment and talk about significant changes that were made from the original text. I haven't read the book, but I did my research to tell you about it, and I found two seriously significant changes. First of all, in the book, Lily is 23 years old and Ryle is 30, so there is a big age gap. In the movie, however, they don't talk about their age, but clearly they are approximately the same age, which is above 35 somewhere. I liked this change, and I will tell you why. In the book, it's portrayed that Lily is inexperienced. She's younger than Ryle, obviously, and she's less experienced in the relationships. So she becomes easily manipulated, easily lied to, and that's how he involves her into this abusive relationship. I like the message of the movie more when what is told to us that this is how it happens. Sometimes red flags are not there, or red flags are not that obvious and noticeable for an average woman, and that's how they fall into their trap. So I don't like this condescending look at the woman who is a potential victim of abuse, or who is a victim of abuse. That's it happened because you were lesser, you were less experienced, you were not that smart, that's why you didn't understand this. So the age change, I think, good. The second change, in the book, the abuse, these occasions that I covered for you, all four of them, are very obvious. They are crystal clear. The writer literally tells us that he hit her on the face. In the movie, I told you the way it was shown is like it's an accident, and only later we realized together with Lily that it was no accident. But in the book, it was told to us crystal clear he hit her on the face. But she still decided to stay with him, even though when it happened first, they were just a boyfriend and girlfriend. And again, it victimizes Lily a little more. It like shows to us that, yeah, she was hit on the face. She knows she was hit on the face, but she decided to stay with the guy anyway, to give him a chance. It's time for the most juicy part. Let's talk about the psychology of Ryle, of the main character. What I really didn't like about the movie in terms of its messaging is that we are concentrated on psychology of Lily, not on Ryle. Kind of like they help us understand why she became the victim of abuse. They tell us about history of her family, how her mother was abused. And probably that's why she carries on the family history. I don't like it, because we shall concentrate on the abuser. Why did he become the abuser, not why she became the victim? Because let's be honest, many women can become victims through no fault of their own. So why did Ryle become an abuser? Let's talk about the psychology of aggression. Aggression in and of itself is not something bad. It's not good or bad, like any emotion is not good or bad. Any emotion happens as a response to what happens outside of us. For example, if we are scared, that's because something scary is happening. We need to save ourselves. And we become aggressive Also as a reaction to fear, because our boundaries are broken, some resources are being taken from us, our life, our health is being threatened. For example, if the lion is running towards us, a reaction of one person can be running away, a reaction of another person can be aggression and fighting because his life is threatened. This is normal reaction to this stimuli. We are getting scared from something, our boundaries being broken somehow, our resources are being taken from us, we're being threatened, we feel aggression, we are ready to fight. However, human brain is way more complicated, and if a boy, it's more often happens with a boy, went through such childhood when really unrealistic demands were addressed to him constantly, like you need to be the best all the time, you need to perform, you need to have an amazing career, you have to score highest everywhere in everything you do, and that's the only moment when he was good enough for his parents, when he was the best, when he could satisfy these unrealistic expectations, then the person will have really unhealthy ego and unhealthy self-esteem. And whenever that ego will be challenged, he would feel fear as if a lion is running towards him. And that's when he will get aggressive. But in the movie, we didn't cover at all Ryle's family. We don't know how his childhood went, how his parents treated him, so we don't understand why he behaves the way he does. They did tell us, however, that as a child, when he was 6 years old, he by accident shot his elder brother. They were playing, they found a gun, he didn't realize it was a real weapon, and he shot his own brother. Of course, awful trauma that he carries on into his life. But this trauma cannot be the reason of him becoming aggressive and having these crazy rage outbursts. Why? Because if anything, this situation will cause the person to feel guilty for everything. Imagine amount of guilt that was thrown on top of 6-year-old boy when this happened. His parents would probably constantly blame him in the death of his brother, and he will grow up with this inner feeling of faulty, of being at fault, of being guilty in everything, but not aggressive. This happens if a person has unstable, challengeable ego. And let me prove you that that's exactly why each and every of 4 rage outbursts happened. So the first one, when he hits her on the face because he burned his hand, as a neurosurgeon, he is supposed to do surgery very tiny. He needs his hand fully operable, but now they are damaged. He cannot be the best in what he does. His ego is challenged and he hits her on the face in a rage outburst. Second time, he sees that his girlfriend is talking to her ex-boyfriend. His ego is challenged because of jealousy, because what if she prefers him over me? What if she is leaving me? He can't cope with it, and the fight happens. And the other 2 also happen because of the same guy, because of Atlas. Because his ego is destabilized, she might leave, she might choose another guy, he can't cope with it, and he goes into rage mode. Secondly, I did not like the way Lily's leaving Ryle went. No, understand me correctly, it's a nice happy end and it's a nice message that she was able to realize what's happening on time. She was able to leave and rebuild her life. That's wonderful, but unrealistic. First of all, abusers usually don't let their victims leave that easily. And that sends us a message that if you are unable to leave your abuser, that means there is something wrong with you. Because look, Lily managed to do that. But Lily's abuser, at her first request to get a divorce, says, yeah, of course, no problem. Real abusers don't do that, because divorce is challenging his ego. He's not good enough. She is leaving. He would not be able to cope with that. These stories sometimes end in a very bad way. There was a case recently in Kazakhstan when a girl was killed by her husband, and she tried to leave. 8 times she left him, but didn't manage to. And that's the problem. That's one of the problems. It's not that easy to leave an abuser. Another thing, we are not shown the financial challenges that Lily is going through, and I'm sure she does. She is opening a new business. She is probably broke. And now she meets this guy who's very successful, who is financially stable. That's another thing that's not shown to us. Sometimes it's hard to leave an abuser because you depend on him financially. But Lily gets a flat, continues her business, which is really successful immediately for some reason. She doesn't face any financial struggles, which is completely unrealistic. In this situation, many women have to run to their relatives, have to get a shelter in some institution that's providing charity support for such women, exactly because they are often in a financial trouble. And lastly, I think I didn't like that in the end Lily got together with Atlas. Let me tell you why. Yeah, as a girl, I was happy to see a romantic happy end. They lived happily ever after together. Great. But why did we have to show that Lily can only be happy when she found a new guy? Why couldn't we stick to a strong, powerful woman who managed to leave an abusive relationship and build a new life? Why did we have to see that she immediately leached on a next guy? This I a little bit didn't like that much. Blake Lively and her weird behavior in relation to this movie. A lot of people currently are judging Blake Lively for portraying the idea of the movie in an adequate light. And I understand where they come from, especially after having watched the movie. The movie has this deep idea about abuse, about handling such kind of experience, about leaving abusive relationship. However, Blake presents it in media as a light rom-com from kind of 90s, like My Best Friend's Wedding or Runaway Bride. Wear your florals, come for the movie, watch the fantastic outfits that we had there. This is not an adequate portrayal of the idea of the movie. However, I think I understand where she comes from. Let me tell you a little story. Years ago, when I was younger, I used to dance professionally Oriental dances, yes? And you do that with Arabic music. I don't speak Arabic, I don't understand what's happening in the song. I would translate it to kind of understand what's happening. But my judges would also be non-Arabic speakers. So I was performing to a song which sounded really, really cheerful. But the text was really sad, about leaving your lover, about breakup, divorce, and something like that. So which emotions do you show? Do you follow the melody, which is really cheerful, or do you follow the words and you show sadness? I thought my judges are non-Arabic speakers, so they won't understand, they won't know the translation of the song. So I was kind of smiling and being happy on stage. But once one of my judges did understand Arabic, and she wrote a comment to my performance that your performance is inadequately reflecting what's said in the song, which she was right. And I think in case of Blake Lively, she is stuck between this kind of misunderstanding. On one hand, we have the floral poster on the movie and it's about love and it's about relationship. On the other hand, there is a deeper meaning to it and there is abuse and there is domestic violence. So how do you promote the movie? How do you ask people to come and see it? She kind of felt, I think, that the movie on the surface is just about love. So that's how she shall talk about it. So that people come to cinemas and then they see it. But what she didn't realize is that since the movie is based on a book, there are already a lot of fans of the story who know what the story is really about. And when they heard the way she promotes the movie based on their favorite book, they were like, what are you talking about? This movie is not about that at all. And that's how she unleashed the whole hate that's happening against her right now. Really, from my perspective, I don't think Blake is that evil. I think she just wasn't aware enough. She didn't realize what was expected. She did a big, genuine mistake. Now, lastly, let me tell you how to spot such behavior, how to spot that this guy is dangerous and might abuse you in the future. Again, I'm not trying to be smartest of all and telling you that if you didn't spot it, it's your fault. It's not true. But let me give you a tip that might help some of you. This behavior happens when a person has a link between unstable ego and uncontrollable aggression. So when she saw in the first moments of the movie him throwing the furniture, breaking the furniture, not being able to control his emotions, she might have tick in her head that this is a red flag. This guy gets really aggressive, starts breaking things when he has these emotions, he can't cope with them. And secondly, when you discover that his ego is challengeable, for example, early in a relationship you say some joke, or somebody makes a joke about him that challenges his self-esteem, and he gets aggressive, he kind of can't take it, that's another red flag for you. You see, his ego is vulnerable, his self-esteem is not that great, and he can get aggressive. That's a potential abuser. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was interesting and useful. Share your opinion in comments if you have watched the movie. What do you think about it? I'm so interested to know. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in my new videos. Bye bye.